Ja, men det var jo mere enkelt. Men jeg var glad for internettet, i hvert fald internettet, og så nu lige se internettet, det er jo der, man kan e-mail også.
Jo.
Ja, også, ikke også?
Ja.
Fordi dengang Helle var i USA, der kunne vi jo hurtigt komme i kontakt med hende via e-mails, skrive frem og tilbage hurtigere. Men før det, der havde jeg ikke nogen behov for det, fordi jeg havde ikke nogen i udlandet, jeg havde ikke nogen, jeg kunne ringe, så jeg ringede bare til dem, jeg skulle have kontakt med. Selvfølgelig var det lidt dyrere.
I think you need to imagine a world where you don't have any computers or phones, so you wouldn't be able to quickly talk to your friends on chat, or go and collect data whenever you need it for a report, or play games. We've taken, I guess, 80% of what you do outside school away. And then we fill it with other fantastic stuff, which is what we used to do. Sports, which we do anyway, or it was biking, or it was listening to music, which you didn't have on a little phone.
På telefon eller brev. Dengang postvæsen fungerede, så fik man brev dagen efter det var sendt. Det gør man jo ikke nu mere, fordi der er ingen, der bruger post mere.
News was typically in the form of newspapers. Of course, if you wanted to be a little bit more up to date, because newspapers are 1 day old, so it's not really news, it's yesterday's news. So news was predominantly provided by the radio or by TV. Radio, you could walk around with a Walkman, there you would have a radio, a portable radio. The TV, you would have to be, where your TV was, not really that portable, and it was on certain times. So it was not, news whenever you need it. It was like you had to wait until 7:30, and that was where the news hour in Denmark was broadcast, and then you could see the news there. In the radio, it was, every hour, every full hour, you could have a radio news program, and that was primarily how you got news. A little bit more in-depth news would be the newspapers that you would read, and various newspapers carried various coverage of what you did. And then the next level over would be magazines, and magazines would maybe have articles that was a little bit even deeper and more coverage and more stuff, but of course also much older, because a magazine was typically like, for a month or for a week.
So I think what's really fascinating is that right now it takes 7 days to get in a letter, and that's because no one anymore uses what was some one-stop snail mail, and if you really had to go fast, you used the fax. So fax was like a type of a printer where you could put it in one end of the world and come out as a letter in the other end of wherever the fax went to. So that's like a phone line.
Well, first of all, the internet wasn't there when I was in school, so it basically came when I was at work, and I was working in banking, and I was working in investment banking. So at that point, it was really great because we could get so much more information so much faster, and we could communicate across big distances very, very easily.
Jeg har nok været 45-50 år.
So we didn't use it up in the 80s, and we didn't really use it a lot in the 90s, which means by the time we get to late 90s, I'm in my early 30s, so probably around 30. Back then there wasn't like a huge amount of stuff on the internet, so I'm sure I've done some simple research or written a mail to someone, but it didn't revolutionize my world.
I don't remember my first experience, but I remember that when I was starting using email was, that was really amazing. And in the beginning you were kind of like, I think that the emails were kind of short because first of all, it was quicker to send, but also it was like there was kind of an urgency to it. But it was just like, oh, I'm going to write this really quick email and send it, and you probably thought that when it was a short email, it went faster from A to B, but you know, it didn't really. But I don't remember the first time I used the internet as such, but it was pretty interesting.
Jeg synes, det var smart. Jeg synes, det var betryggende, at man kom i kontakt med nogen så hurtigt, når de var langt væk. Det var dejligt, at man sådan ret hurtigt kunne skrive. Jeg vil gerne snakke med dig, eller har det godt, og så kan man få besked med det samme. Så jeg synes, det var dejligt. Jeg har aldrig været bange for internettet. Jeg kender mange, der har. Jeg synes, det var frygteligt. Men det var det samme. Altså, sådan er det jo hele. Sådan er udviklingen jo hele tiden. Dengang min mormor, hun levede, hvor vi så gerne ville have, at de skulle have en telefon. Det var da jeg var en stor pige, så ville vi så gerne have, at mine bedsteforældre skulle have en telefon, for de boede langt væk fra os. Og så sagde min mormor, at det ville vi ikke have, fordi så skal jeg jo skifte forklæde, hver gang hun ringer. Hun troede, hun kunne ikke forstå, at man kunne bare snakke i telefonen. Hun troede, så kunne man se hende. Og hvis hun havde beskidt forklæde på, så kunne hun ikke tage telefonen. Så det var sådan en helt anden, selvfølgelig noget helt andet, men altså, den der fornemmelse har jeg aldrig haft, selvom jeg vidste godt, de kunne se, at de måtte tage mig, som jeg var. Hvis jeg ikke var friseret, når jeg fik kontakt, så var det så ikke noget godt det på FaceTime eller sådan noget. Jeg synes, jeg kan godt lide det der. Jeg kan godt lide den mulighed, det giver.